Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, unfortunately, we have a couple parties that are looking to attack Bitcoin and Ethereum. So what is this all about and what are they going after? So let's discuss these things, and there's a few other things I want to talk about as well. Some promising project you don't want to miss. All right, let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and make sure you follow my other channels as well. So let's get started. Okay, I said that already. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing well tonight. Bitcoin is still, it hasn't moved. It's still hanging there, going sideways, 19.4. But the entire market cap went up. There's a little bit of a recovery. You could see we're up to 986 almost, right? And we have several projects that are in the green today. So this is a slow recovery day, right? Bitcoin dominance continues to go down, almost at an alarming rate, guys. 37.6% now. It has not been this low for a long time. But the good thing is, those of you guys that are crypto holders, bag holders, you know what? It shows you that you guys are strong. You guys continue to DCA and hodl, right? We've been through worse. We have gone through a horrible 2022. But we are surviving. We're moving forward despite all the headwinds and macro conditions and the dollar and the DXY gaining strength, right? And Powell and Gensler and everyone else that seems to be on the attack right now. So that's actually pretty darn good. Pretty darn good if you think about it, right? But unfortunately, I have to talk about a couple things I noticed tonight. Why I think Bitcoin and Ethereum is under attack. And unfortunately, you know what? Until we get more regulatory clarity, we probably will continue to see attacks like this or headlines like this. First of all, let's talk about Gary Gensler. All right. So he actually, the SEC and the CFTC, right? They're two of the major agencies that we have in the U.S. that regulates investments. So the CFTC monitors commodities while SEC monitors securities, right? And they're supposed to work together. But periodically, when you have someone that's power hungry like Gary Gensler, he wants to take control of everything, which is why he's declaring everything a security, right? Because he wants to control it. He's like, no. So he's trying to play Mr. Nice Guy right now, saying, you know what? I'm on board with CFTC taking control of some crypto, specifically Bitcoin, right? If CFTC wants to take over Bitcoin because I believe it's a commodity, go ahead. He's sounding like he's the bigger man, right? Like, okay, yeah, you guys could take over Bitcoin. That's fine. It's yours, right? And if that is true, that means we're going to get a Bitcoin spot ETF right around the corner, right? Because the only reason why we don't have it is because Gensler does not want us to have one. So there's that. But here's the thing, though. CFTC themselves have come out and said, we would love to take over control of Bitcoin and Ethereum because Ethereum was already deemed a commodity by the prior director of the SEC, right? So, the CFTC has come out and basically said, hey, SEC, you guys are, overstepping, right? It's already, you guys ruled Ethereum as part of the commodities sector, so we get to control them. But, Gary's trying to, overlook that. He's like, yeah, you guys take Bitcoin. But he's not. He's staying quiet about Ethereum. He has not come out directly and said Ethereum is a security, but he has made remarks and interviews where he has said, well, I only consider Bitcoin a commodity and that's it. And it seems like he just wants to, he's dodging over this whole Ethereum thing, right? And it could be because this lawsuit that they have with Ripple, because Ripple is trying to use whatever they use to decide Ethereum being a commodity, right? Ripple wants to use that as a defense. And the SEC does not want to give Ripple this. They've been fighting tooth and nail, dragging their feet, even though the courts already said, hey, SEC, give Ripple what they want. And they're still trying to drag their feet and making up all these weird excuses and so forth, right? This could be the reason why Gary does not want the CFTC taking over Ethereum, because they kind of want to hide it, or they're trying to make people think that it's a security so they can still control it. And maybe with that, they can win the lawsuit against Ripple. You know, I'm speculating here, but you got to connect the dots, right? There must be a reason for it. So unfortunately, Gary is still, still up to his old ways, I guess. He did publish this big, long article about why he feels like basically everything in crypto is a security, right? Doesn't matter if it's open source, doesn't matter if it's decentralized, doesn't matter if it's DeFi project, doesn't matter if founders started it with no interest of making money. The founders may have zero. It doesn't matter. Anything doesn't matter. If people are buying, expecting to make money off of it, well, in his book, it's a security. Well, if that's the case, then why is Bitcoin not deemed a security? So, I mean, even that doesn't make much sense, right? So, yeah, unfortunately, until we get some clarity, real clarity on this, we're just going to get, question marks like this, and we're going to get more attacks. Ultimately, that's what's happening, right? So, Gary, once upon a time, everyone thought he was going to be good for crypto. Well, he's looking like he may be the worst commissioner that we ever had within SEC, because maybe he knows too much, or he thinks he knows too much, and he is definitely out to get everyone right now because he wants that control. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, right? Everyone's trying to grab control. Seems like Gary's winning at this point. All right, so that's number one, right? And number two, not only that, the White House, their science minister or Office of Science and Technology submitted their report claiming that Bitcoin's energy usage with their proof of mining is disastrous. It's really draining. It's killing electrical grids. It's having a global warming effect, right? And they're suggesting banning of proof of work. Imagine that, right? So not only do we have to fight the SEC, now the White House, this is part of Biden's executive order, telling everyone in agency to kind of look at crypto and come up with a solution or a plan on how to regulate things, how to properly define things, right? Whether or not, there's a difference between proof of work, proof of stake, and, if one's better than another and stuff like that. So now we're seeing this. But, with these kind of reports, you never hear about, well, what about dryers? The number of dryers is vast in the U.S. Dryers take a lot more electricity than Bitcoin mining, but we're not banning dryers. We're not banning washing machines. We're not banning Christmas lights, which also take more electricity than Bitcoin mining, right? So there's a lot of industries, the banking industry, the gold mining industry. There's a lot that's out there that takes up way, way, way more electricity and puts a lot more stress on the electrical grid than Bitcoin. Yet we still have, some agencies that feel like, oh, it's too intensive and we got to get rid of proof of work, right? So unfortunately, that's still happening right now. So hopefully this is just a report, a suggestion. Nothing comes of this, right? But yeah, we're getting attacked left and right. Joshua says, I hang Christmas lights, bro. I think a lot of people do, but no one complains about how much electricity they take up, right? Why is that? Why do they only complain about Bitcoin mining electricity? So yeah, unfortunately, we have attacks from several agencies within the U.S. government. But the good thing is, even though there is all this fuzz that's going on, right? The big boys continue to push forward. And who do I mean? Well, Fidelity just announced not too long ago that they're offering Bitcoin in 401k plans. Fidelity is one of the largest asset managers out there, right? So they're like, yeah, you know what? We're going to give people what they want. They want to invest in Bitcoin. With what we're seeing right now with inflation, with distrust in government, with distrust in banks, right? People want to stock up Bitcoin. So you know what? Despite all the FUD, you got big boys and little boys, meaning retail investors, that just can't get enough, right? And another asset manager, Franklin Templeton, who also holds an enormous amount of assets, over $1 trillion worth of assets, which is more than the entire market cap of crypto, right? They're actually going to offer accounts. They're going to invest in 20 various crypto for institutions that want to get involved with cryptocurrency, not just Bitcoin, but the entire sector, right? So the big boys are still getting involved right now despite all the FUD. So that is very positive. Of course, I mentioned about retail investors. They're still getting in, right? I talked about it at the beginning. Bag holders are still staying strong. Holders are still staying strong. So the good news is, even though we may be under attack, right, we are still moving forward. We're not standing still. We know that this is the right path. Bitcoin will lead the way to financial freedom and decentralization. And so will crypto. So I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. So that's what I want to lead off with. You know, a little bit of FUD, but we still have a lot of great things happening. There's a couple projects I want to talk about real quick. Binance Coin specifically, and their new Binance chain. Recently, I've been talking about a lot of upgrades, right? Just yesterday, I talked about not only Ethereum, Cardano, EOS, Algorand, right? Helium, a lot of upgrades. I didn't know, but Binance is upgrading their BNB chain as well, right? So BNB is already a huge big cap, and Binance, of course, is the biggest exchange in the world, right? But their blockchain, you know, they're kind of following the same footsteps as Ethereum. It's EVM compatible. It's built within Cosmos ecosystem, and that's important because I want to talk about that in a little bit. But they plan on upgrading, utilizing ZK rollups, so that the new chain will be able to process 5,000, 10,000 transactions per second. So they're getting real serious about this. And ZK rollups is like the new kind of like way for like layer ones to scale. That is something that Ethereum is looking into after they're going to merge. That is something that Polygon already has. Not only that, Polygon already has ZK EVM. So they can already process smart contracts using the rollup. And there's many other projects that's also using ZK rollup as well. So Binance is moving in that direction. This upgrade, there's no set time yet, but it will be next year. That could be sooner than expected. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth died. Rest in peace. I didn't mean to show that, but it came up. But I wanted to show this. But besides the chain upgrade, there's a ton of coin burning that's going on within BNB, within the ecosystem as well. They look at profits and they calculate in real time, and there's a ton that's being burned all the time. And BNB does have a set supply, so it is deflationary at this point, very, very deflationary at this point. So that also helps a lot. Now, the second one that I want to talk about, and I just got done saying BNB, how it's built within the Cosmos ecosystem. I think a lot of people are missing this, and you know what? This could be absolutely huge. Cosmos is coming out with Interchain security, which is basically meant for projects within the ecosystem to share the security of the main chain Cosmos. So a lot of you guys don't know, BNB chain, right, is built within Cosmos ecosystem. Chronos chain is. Terra used to be. That caused a little bit of a problem for Cosmos. But there's many other dApps also and other smaller chains that are within Cosmos ecosystem. Now, the whole point of Interchain security is that you are able to rent the security, basically rent validators from Cosmos in the future to kind of secure and, make your dApp or chain more secure. Basically, Interchain security, right? It's kind of like the first in the industry. I don't know of any other chain that does this, but why this is beneficial is because you have to pay for that security, and part of the fees will go to stakers of Atom, right? Around 25%. So that's going to be a big thing that's coming up. And this will also be coming out probably early next year if, the roadmap is followed, right? So there will be a public testnet coming up in November, and then in January, they're basically going to deploy this. So this is also something to watch out. This is a big upgrade that's coming, right? And a lot of you guys probably have noticed that Cosmos has been doing very well recently. I do think a lot of it is due to this because of enthusiasm over, interchain security, but also I have mentioned before Van Eyck, which is a big fund manager. They're also very bullish on Cosmos. They actually published this whole report about how bullish they are about it, so that probably helps too. But this is also coming up, so just want to let you guys know. All right, that's pretty much it. Overall, light news day other than some FUD, some attacks, right? But like I said at the beginning, today overall you got some good movement. Solana finally moving. A lot of you guys been, wondering what's going on with Solana. It's moving up today 5%. You got Avalanche up about 4% today. Cosmos just got done saying about 8%, almost up to $14. They're having a fantastic week and month and 2 months and 90 days. Cosmos has been making a lot of strides. I'm just going to skip over number 26 since I mentioned them this morning. And then, you got others like Flow, Algorand that's doing good. You got Tezos that's doing good today. And Quant also, Elrond, OKB, which is OKX's coin. I don't know why they went up. But, you got a solid movement today. So that's good overall. All right, guys. Let's do some Q&A. Man, I'm glad Jeff is here today. He's putting the hammer down. Jeff Hammer is putting the hammer down on a lot of these comments. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Scrolling up, making sure that nothing is missed. A lot of hate towards Gary, rightfully so. Let's see. I want to ban work. Well, then you'll just be bored. Or, or a better way to think about it is just attain the financial freedom for yourself. Then you don't have to ban work. You just work for yourself. How much electricity does Washington, D.C. use? Probably a lot. Just get rid of electric cars. I don't know if that's going to solve it, but Cali heat was no joke. 116 in Riverside a few days ago. 116 is no joke. When I was in Cancun, it was like 98 degrees, and basically it was unbearable to go outside unless you're in the pool. So I can't imagine in like 116. I think the worst I've been into is like 105, 108, something like that. I don't think I've ever been in weather that's above 110. ZK Rollup, someone said Loopring. Loopring is also in. Yeah, Loopring and Immutable X are both like fighting over that NFT marketplace from GameStop. It's kind of weird. They're both involved, right? But Loopring, they've been outside the GameStop. They haven't really caught anyone's attention. Let's see here. Yeah. DeFi future side, just watch your Timberline video tonight, and that Explorer does not look so hot. Well, I will say, I think the Timberline Explorer, and in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, head over to my car channel Drivers Only after this and check it out. But as for Explorer, that Timberline looks pretty darn good. I got to say, the most rugged looking one. And it's not bad, except that I did state in the video that, you know, it's a very competitive field, right? The mid-size SUV sector is very, very competitive. You got to stand out. And there's really nothing about Explorer right now that really stands out. But, you know, it does most things well. Okay, let's just say middle of the pack. Jordan, that Fidelity piece you gave is a big deal. Is that ready now? Well, that was announced back in April. So I think that's already ready, right? So, I mean, I haven't reached out to Fidelity to ask about it, but that should be already active. So if you're thinking about it, you should reach out to them and let me know. I was joking before the live chat that every day from now on, during Q&A, I should spend like 15 or 30 minutes and try to day trade Luna Classic and see how much I can make or lose within that time. Maybe that'll make things interesting. Yeah. I mean, right now, that's really what it's good for. So, I mean, I did a whole video this morning about it, same pros and cons, right? A lot of enthusiasm over it. But, you know, it's not a whole lot of utility other than the burning that's coming up. Let's see. Let's see. What else is there? Bring Andrew Tate on the show. I think he's only on Rumble now, and I think his audience is starting to decrease a little bit. He's, you know, he said some interesting things. Like, I think he purposely was very controversial to grab the attention, and then he started some good things so that people started paying attention. But yeah, you knew someone that controversial, that outspoken, that drew that much attention was go basically cause all the social media companies to do what they did, right? It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But Rumble, let's see how it is. Rumble supposedly does not do any kind of censorship or anything like that. We'll see how that works out for him. But his videos are still all over TikTok, nonstop. Terry Morgan's like, bro, like $40 billion went dry under the Founders Watch. Are you guys crazy? Yeah, you know, that's the thing. You know, I made that argument this morning, right? There's a lot of people that are quite bored with crypto, right? They're not in it to be long-term investors. They're not in it to be holders. They're in it for a quick trade or a quick buck. So that's why whenever there is any project with any chance of making quick dollars and there's a lot of FOMO, you do see a lot of people gravitate to it, right? You know, you got to be very careful. Many projects have done that in the past and then they crashed right back down. But I think what the lunatics are hoping for is that if a project is so big that it'll just stay up by the holders, like Doge and Sheep, right? Look at both of them. Doge has no utility at all, and it's still so high. And Sheep has almost no utility, but they're building a utility. But they're very high, too. So that's the hope, like somehow Luna Classic can stay up with no utility, just with the promise of coin burning, right? So that's how it is right now. That's why I said you got to be careful. You go get into it, you know, treat it as a trade. Don't get too greedy. You could get burned really badly if it does come down, right? So that's pretty much it. Do Kwon is currently not interested in Luna Classic. They're focused on Luna V2. I mean, that's obvious. Before they forked Luna and Luna Classic, I've said this. Why didn't Do Kwon and team just try to fix Luna at that time, which is now Luna Classic, right? Do Kwon had some kind of agenda. He forced that fork to happen, probably because with the new fork tokens, he was able to sell and he wanted to use that money to pay the IRS of South Korea or whatever, wherever he owed money, right? I think that was the thing because he lost everything that he had with regular Luna. So that whole contentious fork caused by Do Kwon was just absolutely insane and should have never happened. And he controlled more than 50% of the votes, so of course he made it happen. That's what I'm more pissed off about. He did not want to try to save Luna. So, yeah. So Do Kwon, he could go to, you know where. Arnell, appreciate it. Are you positive on Phantom? Do you think they could survive the bear market? I mean, they're surviving right now. Any project that's within the top 100 is, in my book, surviving, right? And they are at 64. So it's hard. During this time right now, when everything's weak and you're still able to hold in the top 100, that's very impressive. So they're holding. Wisconsin? Hey, don't mess with Wisconsin. I like their cheeses. Anthony, I appreciate it. Thank you. Who do you prefer, Cosmos or Dot? I've always preferred Cosmos more. Even though Dot has a bigger market cap, but I've always liked Cosmos more. Dot, to me, I don't know. It just doesn't grab as much attention. You know, they have a lot of chains as well, but just seems like a lot of the early projects I heard of on Polkadot just all became a little scammy, and it turned me off to Polkadot, you know. And I never hear anything about Gavin Wood and what he's up to, you know. I just don't hear much about them. It just seems like they're kind of just there. Other than Moonbeam and then Infinity that supposedly came out, but I don't hear anyone talking about Infinity from Engine. You know, I don't really hear about any other chains that's really operating on Polkadot right now. Have you seen a new Wagoner S? I have seen a regular Wagoner, not the EV Wagoner. I think Jeep just announced they're coming out with the whole lineup, Wrangler and Wagoneer and Cherokee, all these new EV cars. Everyone is coming out, like, you know, they're all planning on like having a entire lineup of EV cars, right? Whether or not they'll be able to mass produce them or when they come out, who knows? EOS will soon be called Antelope. I mean, couldn't they have come up with a sexier name than Antelope? If I buy something from someone, land, house, whatever, and we do BTC wallet to wallet, is that a taxable event? Yes. Any kind of trade for Bitcoin is a taxable event, right? Even though you may not make money, even if you break even, it's still a taxable event, technically, according to IRS. If you spend it for anything, it's a taxable event. So, What are the new Apple Watch and iPhones? I didn't really pay attention. They basically look the same to me. It still shocks me that Apple is able to convince so many people to buy so many iPhones every single year when they're all exactly the same. I mean, I bought my wife the 12. I mean, I bought her, I think, 10 and 11, and then recently 12 and 13, and they're all the same goddamn phone. Like, literally, you're using them side by side. They're exactly the same. So I don't know how 14 is going to improve. Supposedly it has better camera, it's faster, whatever. But every app opens up exactly the same. And they work the same, and the screen looks the same. Everything is the same. But they're able to convince people to keep buying new phones. Zach, I don't know how to answer your question, but I agree. All right, guys, let's keep it short. Overall, Bitcoin, Ethereum is under attack from the Whitehouse, from Gensler. There's a lot of people that are just not happy with crypto because they fear they will be losing control. And ultimately, that's what it's all about, right? The people in power do not want to give up that power. And that's what crypto brings. It's something that will give people power and give people the right to their own money, right? And the right to financial freedom. So stay strong, my friends. Don't let the FUD get to you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? So smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, and take care. Have a good night. And make sure you check out my other channel, Drivers Only, too. All right? Take care.